With tourism getting back to where it should be, it goes without saying that foreigners are pretty excited to finally take a relaxing vacation away from home. But as it turns out, locals aren't too stoked, having already experienced some truly entitled behavior over the years. But what are some of the cringiest things tourists have done while on holiday? And what about these moments makes them memorable? For all this and more, stay tuned. 1. Getting down and dirty on the Great Pyramid. First up on our list is an absolute shocker of a situation, which saw Egyptian authorities launch a full-on investigation into the whereabouts of a raunchy couple a few years ago. According to reports, this was all off the back of the actions of a Danish photographer by the name of Andreas Havid, who earlier that day had released a photograph of himself scaling the Great Pyramid of Giza alongside a woman. This wasn't the worst of it, though. The couple were apparently stark naked, later releasing another photograph of themselves having sex close to the top of the monumental landmark. The Danish photographer also went on to release a short video of the couple exploring the pyramid, which had prior to the outing been left untouched for thousands of years. When caught by the Egyptian authorities, Havid claimed that he and the woman had not had sex at the top of the Great Pyramid, but he did admit to climbing the monument in the nude. Not like he could have denied it, considering how he had posted sufficient proof online for everyone to see. Suffice to say, it didn't take long for the authorities to hold him responsible for this conduct, reminding him that even climbing the monument was illegal. This cringe moment has ensured the name of Andreas Havid will be remembered for years to come as the man who went to jail because of his ridiculously entitled behavior and small, brain. 2. The unfortunate fall of Goya and Salvador Dali. In the age of social media, things have gotten a lot worse on the tourist front. When it comes down to it, the majority of these travelers would prefer to take pictures of their experiences over and above actually experiencing these moments for themselves. It's far better to get a vapid reaction from fans on Instagram, after all, than have a truly inspiring moment because of an incredible view or surprising taste. So it won't surprise you to hear that tourists have done some truly idiotic things in an attempt to capture a moment on their smartphones. One of the most memorable moments took place in the International Art Center in the region of Yekaterinburg, Russia, back in October of 2018. Footage from a nearby CCTV camera showed a tourist attempting to get a selfie with some fantastic pieces of art, despite the many signs surrounding her warning attendees to be careful. But unfortunately for the International Art Center, more was needed to save the art from the stupidity of the tourists. While trying to get the best shot, she ended up knocking over the works of famed artists Francisco Goya and Salvador Dali, all of which were damaged significantly as a result. Suffice to say, the people of Yekaterinburg were beyond upset and ended up paying for the blood of the woman in return for what she had done to the beloved artwork. Luckily for her, though, the police refused to open a criminal case against her. 3. The tourist who tagged the Taipei Gate. As you can imagine, quite a few tourists have been known to do some ridiculous things while in foreign lands because of a little something called alcohol. This is especially true of American teenagers who find themselves able to drink lawfully for the first time because of relaxed drinking laws. But Dutch courage could affect anyone, and in this case, we saw it causing some damage through the hands of Canadian Brittany Schneider and Englishman Lee Furlong. What did these two entitled tourists get up to, though? Well, after discovering a can of spray paint on the side of the road after wandering the streets of northern Bangkok drunk, the pair decided to make their mark on the country they were enjoying so much, and so they spray painted the nearest wall, which just so happened to be the famed Taipei Gate. For those of you who don't know, this is a celebrated monument that dates back all the way to the 13th century. So when the couple finally realized what they had done, it didn't take them long to get the heck out of Dodge. That being said, authorities tracked them down a week later due to surveillance footage acquired in the investigation. The tourists were promptly arrested and then released on bail of around $6,000 US. Although the pair could have been sentenced to a maximum of 10 years in prison as a result of this conduct, they were instead fined for their drunken night. 4. What happened with the baby and the coffin? When it comes to the exploration of museums, there's one rule that even the dullest of visitors know by heart. Simply put, you should never touch the displays. Some of these artifacts are millions of years old after all, and are considered by experts to be priceless. That being said, not many tourists seem to care about the rules in place. At least, that's what we have to assume considering how many artifacts have been damaged over the years because of the flagrant disregard of this touching rule. A great example of this took place a few years back in the Southend-on-Sea Borough Council Museum, which housed a sandstone coffin that was said to be used around 800 years ago. Suffice to say, the no-touching rule most certainly applied to this artifact, but some entitled tourists decided to throw this law to the side for the opportunity to take a cutesy photograph of his child. Pushing the casing out of the way, the tourist attempted to place his baby inside of the coffin, but ended up pushing it over in the process process, causing irreparable damage in the process. It goes without saying, but the staff at the museum were beyond angry at how simple this tourist had been, with police later being called to hold him responsible for the damage that had been caused to the small sarcophagus. So not only did the entitled tourist have to pay the price, he also failed to snap his beloved picture. 5. The slapping of the Air France attendant. It's not just famous monuments that see their fair share of entitled tourists, though. In fact, spend some time at the international section of an airport, and you'll see some of the cringiest moments in life. When those gates close, leaving latecomers begging for a chance to make their flight, things can take a pretty unexpected turn after all. And in June of 2017, things went a bit too far when an entitled tourist decided to slap an attendant of Air France after learning that she had missed her chance to board. Better yet, the entire situation was caught on nearby CCTV cameras and showed the woman in question transforming from a calm and friendly customer to an absolute devil. According to reports, she became enraged when she was told that she had unfortunately missed the chance to board her plane, with the Air France attendant stating that over a dozen calls had been made prior to her arrival. After shouting at the attendant and stating that she had an important conference to attend, which she couldn't miss, the entitled tourist lost her mind and slapped the attendant with an open palm. Suffice to say, the police were later called, causing the woman to be arrested for her conduct. And as a cherry on top of the situation, she was also blacklisted from all future Air France flights. 6. What small change delayed this flight? Unsurprisingly enough, this wasn't the last time that an entitled tourist made a scene at an airport. In fact, this last example involves a tourist delaying a flight because of her inability to use common sense. While attempting to fly from Shanghai to Guangzhou, China, a simple passenger did something that would end up delaying her flight for around 4 hours, causing many passengers to grow frustrated because of her unbelievable stupidity. So what did she do? Well, according to reports, she took it upon herself to throw some spare change into one of the engines of the airliner, believing that this would grant the plane good luck and a safe journey to Guangzhou. But as you all hopefully know, the turbine of a jet engine isn't exactly the safest place to store your change. In fact, something as small as this could have led to the failure of the engine and emergency landing of the aircraft. Mechanics called in to fix the problem actually found 9 coins in total, with one having already made its way into the protected engine of the airliner. And while no harm was done in the process, it goes without saying that things could have been a lot worse if marshals hadn't seen what the woman had done. And there you have it, some of the cringiest things that entitled tourists have done over the years. Which story took you most by surprise? And do you have any examples that you've seen while traveling? Be sure to let us know in the comments section down below.